Well, hello, and welcome back to Read Becca for August's TBR, or To Be Read list. Once again, it is a month of many events, and I want to participate in all of them, and as usual, I cannot. So once again, I'm very much narrowing things down. However, there is also a big project looming over all of my reading this month that I don't know what I'm reading for quite yet, and that is the BookTube Prize. So if you don't know what the BookTube Prize is, it is a community-judged event prize that goes on from April to September, and I think March through September, in 2-month increments. So we've been through the octafinal, the quarterfinal, and the semifinal, and this is the final round. So for that, I will be assigned as a judge 6 books to read within 2 months. I don't know if I'm going to be in fiction or nonfiction. So far, I have not actually gotten fiction, which I don't mind at all. That's not a complaint. But I would kind of prefer nonfiction, and I'm very into the nonfiction books that are still in. But that means I don't know if I'm going to get a bunch of long books, if I'm going to get some very dense nonfiction or some very easy fiction. So that's up in the air. I do want to read as many of the books as I can pretty quickly, so I know I'm going to be finished in time for judging. But I don't have to read them all within the month of August. I have 2 months to read over. So I will at least read 3 probably this month, but possibly more. So depending on how that pans out, we will see how that impacts my reading overall. Other than that, let's dive into the events and books that I specifically have set out for myself. First up, a big event that isn't really hosted on BookTube anymore, but I think has become part of the collective consciousness. Sort of the main hosts have drifted off of BookTube for the most part, I think, but I am still going to champion it and be very enthusiastic about it, and that is Women in Translation Month is in August. And it also encompasses spaces outside of BookTube as well, so this is not limited to a specific BookTube event. But first up, I'm going to read one I recently hauled, The Housekeeper and the Professor by Yoko Agawa, and translated by, we don't have it on the cover, Stephen Snyder. So this is a fairly short book, so I don't think this will put any dents into my reading too much, but I have heard great things about this. The vibe that comes across from everyone that talks about it makes me think I'm going to love it, and I have not tried Yoko Agawa's writing yet, and I do think that she is going to be an author for me. This one I think is very mundane and slice of life a bit, following this housekeeper who is caring for a professor that has some memory impairment, and it's, I think, about her process of dealing with that day to day. Sounds very intriguing. The second one is, for that event as well, is going to be one that I have had on my radar for a really long time. It's a very buzzy book on BookTube, and someone randomly held it up this week, and I was like, oh, why have I not read that yet? I should, and it's perfect for Whit Month. So I'm going to read Elena Knows by Claudia Pinheiro and translated by Frances Riddle. This one I don't have, but I have a hold coming in from the library, hopefully in time, and I'm very much looking forward to it. So this one sounds like very much my catnip. It's got an older protagonist dealing with some disability or chronic illness issues, and she is investigating the death of her daughter, I believe, who everyone seems to think took her own life, but I think Elena knows that she didn't. Again, it seems like it's a fairly short one, so I think those ones will be very easy to complete. And this is the event that I would really like to prioritize reading more than I have on my list. So if I have more time to pick things up, I will be prioritizing getting additional Women in Translation works. Then we have Garb August, the wonderful, trashy event of August, where we simply read trashy books that are pure fun and entertainment value. It's hosted every year by Criminally and a band of misfits that continually grow. I think he probably has like 30 co-hosts at this point. But I've had a wonderful, enthusiastically enjoyable time with Garb August in the past, and so I hope to continue that on. I have a couple of selections that are possibilities, but I'm going to officially put one on my TBR, and that is going to be the one I also just recently picked up and hauled, Spacecops Mindblast by Diane Duane and Peter Morwood. So Diane Duane is an author that I know of, Peter Morwood is not, but this seems to be very classic and very pulpy fantasy. And as it says, it's space cops, and they are looking into the creation of this new zero-G drug that has come out. This sounds maybe a little into the cyberpunk realm, which does not always work for me. But as I said, I have several backups if I need to walk away from this one, if it's just too trashy for me. I think it'll be a fun time. So that's it for readathons that I'm intending to participate in for now, other than stuff I dive into on the fly. And then I've got one more book that I'm following my whims on a bit, and that's because I have intended to get to things a little more quickly and follow the connections between my reading a little better than I usually do. As you saw with the previous two books, they were ones I just recently picked up. I need to do that more often. In this case, I just recently read Praying with Jane Eyre, and so I felt like reading another Eyre-connected book, and that's The Eyre Affair by Jasper Fforde. This is a speculative fiction, kind of fantastical book. I think here we have an investigator named Thursday Next, I believe, we will find out, who is looking into disappearance of characters from books, culminating with Jane Eyre, and in fact diving into the pages of books, I believe, as well. So that sounds weird and wonderful and very much my thing, bookish, so I'm stoked to get to it. It's also from my TBR for this year. That's been going quite well. Not fantastic, but better than usual, I would say. And I have multiple books from Jasper Fforde, because I really enjoy his writing, that are just sitting on my shelves that I need to get to, including multiple books from the series. So I'm happy to finally be diving in. So that is it for my somewhat tiny TBR for the month, along with the giant question mark of BookTube prize reading. Yeah, so did I do good on my selections? Are you participating in Women in Translation month? And let me know if you have any backup suggestions that I should get to next that you think are totally my sort of thing for Wit Month, because I definitely want to dive fully into reading Women in Translation as much as I can. So that is it for me today. Thank you so very much for watching.